If you have any information about the identity of the decedent in this video, please call the Racine County Sheriff's Office at 262-886-2300. On the 21st of July, 1999, at about 6:15 a.m., a man walking his dog came across the body of what he thought was a man on the edge of a cornfield in a rural area of Raymond, Racine County, Wisconsin. From the way the body was positioned, it looked like one of the arms had been broken. It appeared to the authorities that the victim had died elsewhere and the body had been dumped in the field. The autopsy revealed that the victim was actually a woman dressed in male clothing, and she had died from a combination of multiple injuries, including blunt force trauma to the head, chest, and abdomen, and she had undergone up to a month of torture, physical abuse, sexual abuse, and neglect, which increased in severity in the 3 to 5 days prior to her death. Evidence was found that suggested she was also malnourished. Because it rained the night before she was found, most of the evidence of the perpetrator of the crime was washed away. The victim was a Caucasian female, thought to have been anywhere between 18 and 30 years old, standing at 5 feet 6 inches to 5 feet 8 inches tall, weighing about 120 pounds, having reddish-brown curly collar-length hair with either blonde dyed or sun-bleached highlights, brown, hazel, or green eyes, ears that were both pierced 2 times each, poor dentition with protruding front incisor teeth, and several other teeth that were either missing or decayed. She had a deformity on her left ear known as cauliflower ear, which may have resulted from the abuse she was subjected to. She had well-healed undescribed scars on both of her shins, and she may have been cognitively disabled, as her brain was a significantly low weight for the size of her skull, and she had lower set ears, which can be an indicator of certain mental disabilities. She was found wearing a long-sleeved men's Carmen brand grey country western style shirt with pearl snap buttons and embroidered red flowers on the front, men's black sweatpants, and some sources indicate that she was wearing 2 undescribed earrings in each of her ears, though other sources say that she had no jewellery at all. She was barefoot without any socks or shoes, and underwear is not mentioned. The manufacturer of the shirt she was wearing informed the police that it was first sold throughout the United States in 1984, and it probably had not been sold since then. The woman's body was littered with untreated cuts and bruises. She had been sexually assaulted multiple times over a period of time, and she had a fractured nose and possibly a broken arm. 25% of her body was covered in burns. The abuse was quite clearly severe. The Racine County Sheriff's Department received over 600 tips, though none of them led to the murdered woman's identity. When no one came forth to positively identify the woman, she was simply buried as Jane Doe. Over 50 people attended her funeral service. Her gravestone reads, "Daughter, Jane Doe, found July 21st, 1999. Laid to rest October 27th, 1999. Gone but not forgotten." She lay there undisturbed for just under 14 years before her remains were exhumed in October of 2013 and sent to Milwaukee to be examined. On the 16th of July 2015, it was announced that the examination of her remains was complete, and she would be reburied on the 21st, the 16th anniversary of her discovery. Authorities stated that they had uncovered new leads from the exhumation, but refused to elaborate any further. On the 20th of October 2016, the results of the isotope testing performed on samples of her hair and bone were released. Isotope analysis indicated that the unidentified woman had likely been from or spent several years of her life in either Alaska, Montana, or several portions of southern Canada. As with all the cases I cover on this channel, there are quite a few theories. Some theorize that the person responsible for her murder could have been a family member or a spouse, and that is why she was never reported missing. Since she was possibly mentally disabled, a family member hiding her away and abusing her is a very sad but very real possibility. Some online think that the unidentified woman was perhaps a prostitute and she may have been killed by her pimp. Since her hair appeared that it may have been dyed, this leads people to believe that her pimp could have done so to appeal to certain customers. Others think that she could have been a neglected foster child. It is not far-fetched to think that perhaps she was kidnapped and held captive for the last few weeks of her life, as the evidence does seem to point to this being a possibility. Of course, none of these theories have ever been proven. They are just speculation. Almost 20 years have passed since this woman's death, and to this day she remains unidentified. Several missing people have been officially ruled out as being this unidentified woman. Please check the description for a list of those rule-outs. If you have any information whatsoever on the identity of this decedent, or any knowledge of the circumstances surrounding her death, check the beginning of this video again for the appropriate agency to contact.